All right, we're going to be looking at our project that we're going to start working on today through Christmas break next week. This one is on designing an ecosystem. So for this, you're going to be designing your very own, basically like a habitat in a zoo. So the introduction. What lives in a pond? Plants, fish, reptiles, birds, insects, and even microscopic organisms in a pond interact in many ways to create a balance where all organisms can thrive. There are many different parts of an ecosystem besides just the animals that we see. In this project, you will create a habitat based on one of the following 4 planets that we'll introduce for this. So what you need to think about for this is you're going to be creating like a zoo habitat, an exhibit at a zoo. This habitat will be similar to a zoo exhibit. It needs to mimic the original habitat, but not be so large that it couldn't fit into a zoo. For this project, you're only designing the habitat and putting in plants. Later in the year, we will do an extension when we get to evolution, where you're going to be creating an animal that exists in this habitat. So planet 1, cold, dark, and rainy. This planet is dark and cold most of the time. It's very mountainous. It rains almost all day. Because of the wet, dark conditions, the only plants that grow well are small mosses and funguses. Animals on this planet include a type of mouse, a nocturnal hunting large cat, insects, and a variety of fish. So this is giving you an idea of what the planet looks like. Cold, dark, and rainy. Planet 2, the desert world. This planet is hot and dry. Most of the planet is flat. Water is found in underground streams, but there is little water on the surface of the planet. Most of the planet's surface is covered in sand, although there are patches of dry grass. When plants can get the roots down to the water table, they grow into tall trees with leaves at the top, but nothing along the trunk. Plants which are not connected to the water table are small and dry, but they are edible. Animals on this planet include insects, a species of bird which roosts high in the trees, a sand-colored lizard, and a type of rat. So again, a desert planet, mostly covered in sand, some small patches of dry grass, and occasionally tall trees with leaves on top when they get to the water below ground. Planet 3, rainforest world. This planet is tropical, wet, and hot. Most of the planet is covered by a rainforest. The planet is very flat, not a lot of mountains or valleys. Water collects in large pools and lakes, which have water in them all year round. A species of poisonous plant grows thickly on the ground. The spines of this plant are poisonous. Any animal which steps on one of them is sure to die. Vegetation is plentiful and includes leaves, fruits, and nuts. Animals include carnivorous snakes, varieties of insects, monkeys, fish, and birds. So rainforest world, tall trees, water in lakes, pools everywhere, all year round, and a poisonous vine plant that grows along the ground. Planet 4, the Goldilocks world. This planet has a moderate climate, never too hot, never too cold, but stays a mild temperature all year round. It rains for part of the year, and the water forms pools and lakes, which dry up towards the end of the year when the planet is very dry. The planet is partly mountainous and partly flat. Vegetation includes tall trees with high leaves and fruit, and a smaller plant which bears nuts. However, these nuts are inside of a hard shell that must be removed before they can be eaten by animals. Animals on this planet include rats and mice, which live underground, insects, birds that nest in tall trees, slow-moving mammals, which also live in the trees, and a species of carnivorous nocturnal wolf. So moderate climate, not too hot, not too cold, water part of the year, no water the rest of the year, some tall trees. Expectations. When you're designing this habitat, make sure that it fits in the environment. So if you choose the desert planet, you're not going to put a lake, okay? If you choose the cold, dark planet, you're probably not going to put a whole lot of plants that need a whole lot of sunlight. Think about the types of plants. Are the plants edible, meaning can they be eaten? Or are they poisonous to keep animals away? Do they need to have their pollen spread by insects? None of the plants can be carnivorous. And could you recreate this in your zoo? For instance, if you're using one that is the cold, dark planet where it rains a lot, well, rain has to go somewhere, so you could create maybe something that's aquatic. It does say that there were fish. You can do a drawing. This is the most common thing students do, is to make a drawing of this. Or you can make a diorama. A diorama is just simply an example of what the ecosystem would look like. Okay, these are commonly done in shoe boxes, but you could do them on top of a sheet of paper and build up from there. I've had these made with clay. I've had students do little figurines. I had a student last year make a great one out of Legos. So all kinds of options there. But the base for this, all we are expecting is the drawing. And finally, grading rubric. How is this going to be graded? Have you fulfilled all parts of the task? Have you created your ecosystem that has the animals, no animals, has the plants and everything you would need for the plants? Have you chosen features that fit into the world? So again, does what you've created for this ecosystem make sense for the planet? And finally, is it neatly presented and labeled? Okay, this is the assignment. We'll discuss it a little bit in class. Have fun with this, guys. This is a very, very fun assignment for you to do.